All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. As you can see here tonight, I have a guest. This is a Rage in the Cage. For those of you that noticed, I spelled his name wrong earlier today, so I had to square it away. Uh, anyway, that being said, tonight we are going to talk about what happened in Brooklyn, New York, and we're going to talk about some of the events that also actually happen or coincide with this. Now, right now, I'm not saying that this event happened to distract us from that, because again, looking at the guy that did this, it just doesn't strike me as so. But I do think this is a definite convenient incident that happened with a couple of things that happened. Now, Kage here is gonna talk about a couple of things that I didn't even know happened today. So he's gonna discuss that, and we're gonna discuss the particulars in a little bit as far as what happened, how it went down, what was found. We'll go over that in a little bit as well. So, for those of you that don't know, this is Rage in the Cage. He has a YouTube channel called Prepper's Paradise. He sent me the link. I'm going to put the link in the chat now. Did you just start this channel?
Yeah, I don't have any videos on it. I've just moved to the new location.
Okay.
And I'm doing filming as I get things built and do things here. And the new channel is to focus 100% on prepping, because my main channel is not a prepper channel. Just because I'm a prepper and I have some prepping videos on it, I don't consider it to be a prepper's channel. So,
all right, well, fair enough. So before we get into all the hoopla, I guess talk a little bit about yourself to the people here who don't know you.
Okay, well, I'm Kage. I'm Rage in the Cage on YouTube. My third channel on YouTube. They don't like me. Rage in the Cage is more of, it's more of an information channel, a truther channel. I do have some of my old videos from my Mr. Cage Co. the Prepper channel that I had from 2015 until 2017. So some of those videos are on there. And I touch a lot of prepper content, and a lot of my friends are preppers, of course, preppers on YouTube and preppers in real off YouTube kind of thing. Ex-Canadian military. Okay. Grew up on a farm, and I'm kind of an injured vet, so I'm limited to what I can do in a lot of situations. And so being on YouTube gives me a chance to try and help people, like this, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. So listen, not again, but thank you for your service, even for your country. Anybody who's willing to put their shit in the line, always deserves a thank you, and I think a lot more. But that's all you're gonna get from me, because I can't give you a bag of cash or better help. But
thank you for yours too, because all those years on the FDNY, that's equal. You're an oath keeper just like me.
Thank you, appreciate it. So, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chats. Pay attention to you. Yeah. Listen, yeah. Think of the next question. It's becoming a fucking skill at this point. But anyway, so that being said, all right, guys. So we're gonna move into the topic now. We're gonna navigate the topic a little carefully, just because I want this video to stay up. And then on the Angry Truths channel, I usually let loose, because if they fucking knock it, then they knock it. But we're gonna try to navigate it a little carefully. So now, as far as what happened this morning, I think a lot of us woke up to the news here in New York. It was on every channel, and what wound up happening was a suspect, older black gentleman, I might add, that I saw the picture of him. I was like, holy shit, this guy's old. He looked like, and I'm not saying anybody in their 60s and 70s is old. I'm just, he's pretty old for what he did. And so he winds up getting on the train. He puts a gas mask on. He pulls a smoke bomb out of his bag of fireworks, disperses the smoke bomb inside the train car, and then starts firing blindly into the smoke. Keep in mind he had a gas mask on, so he could breathe, but he couldn't see shit. So he gets away with it, or at the time he gets out of it anyway. He slides out while everybody else is panicking, screaming, carrying on. I think 10 people were shot. 29 people in total were injured, probably 30 at this point. And that's what it is. So the media is trying to stay away from calling it a terror attack. I'm calling now, after all the information that came out about this guy, the van that was found, the bag of fireworks, his firearm, his hate rant on his social media. This is a terror attack. Right now, the media and, of course, Mayor Eric Adams and everybody else are trying to stay away from calling it that, but that's what this is. And, it's not the grand scheme, attack like 9/11, anything like that. No, this is a smaller one. Kage, what is your opinion on this whole situation?
Well, I'm tending to agree with you that it has more of the hallmarks of something that was definitely planned. The fact that, again, that he used a smoke bomb, he was wearing, apparently he had a reflective vest on. He had a gas mask, which a lot of people at the train station, a lot of people coming off that train had the commie covers like we've been seeing for a couple of years, but his was an actual gas mask. That's right. A little more, but a little more of a message kind of thing when you come out of the train with that. And the fact, the shooting and everything else, doing it in a very public place like that, I would venture to take a guess. And again, this is just being critical. And I know I can talk to you like this, but you mentioned that he was a man of color.
Yeah.
And so far, other than the media saying, he rented a van, there's nothing coming out on him. So he doesn't fit a narrative they want to push as far as calling this what it is, really.
Right.
And the other thing too, so your president, the potato in chief today, he came out with a whole, we have to take down the guns thing right afterwards. Now that was probably planned ahead of time anyways, because they have been pushing that. But, the funny thing is, I was doing some research after you sent me everything this morning, and I started looking everything up. And what's really interesting is that there's a whole bunch of articles out that were refreshed today about gun violence in America and mass shootings. And even on Wikipedia, there is, since just in 2022, there's 122 mass shootings. But anytime more than one person gets hit by a bullet, it's a mass shooting.
Right. Exactly.
But they're pushing the narrative.
Right. So we used to look at when we talked about those kind of incidents, if you will, it was always more than, I think, 3 people or 5, right? That was the number. Now you get, I think it's more than 2. And now they want to call it a mass shooting. And it goes down as a mass shooting, even though they don't talk about it as such in the news. But the powers that be, the bean counters, if you will, of mass shootings, they're like, that's a mass shooting. Because, listen, if you look at Detroit and New York, we're having those kind of things every day. Just in those 2 places alone. Let's not even talk about Maryland. Let's not even talk about L.A. So you're going to get that number up to make your argument look better as far as taking guns away from the citizen goes. Now, this is not, some people call this a distraction. Like I said, it's a convenient distraction, because they can also now march the gun violence thing, straight to fucking the White House with this one. New York City has been asking for months to get the whole gun violence under control, and they've been asking for help from DC. Now with it, and this was just last week, Adams was asking for help from DC to help with the gun violence. Then a week later, we get this. Now, I do believe in coincidences at certain points, but when certain things start to be too coincidental, like, again, Potato Head and his speech about ghost guns,
Yeah.
right? He was making that argument about getting those off the street, and we need to get those off the street. And then this happens. You know what I mean? It's just it's a little on the nose, if you ask me. As far as it being a staged event, I don't think it's a staged event. I think it was a legitimate coup that, a terrorist that went and did what he did. And they're going to use this as their reason to end guns. But listen, I hate to say this, and I'm gonna say this one time. The event that needs to go down for everyone to finally go, all right, enough. We have to do something about this nationwide. Has to be something grand. I mean, something extraordinarily grand. And I don't see that happening. And even if that does happen, I don't see people turning around and be like, all right, let's give up our weapons. We had enough.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, we've got the same problem up here in Canada. And I was just on the phone again today with over an hour, a really good friend of mine, Seamus. He has a channel, Little Gray Cells. And I'm actually right now, while we're talking, I'm bringing that up.
Okay.
So that I can put the link in chat so people can go there. Unfortunately, April 18th and 19th of 2020, right at the beginning of the heavy heyday of the pandemic and everything else, there was a mass casualty event in Nova Scotia, Canada. 23 people were murdered over an 11-hour period, including an unborn child. And it was definitely premeditated, but it was not a false flag I shouldn't have said that out loud on your channel to get you nailed. But it wasn't an FF to promote any kind of an agenda, but the government jumped all over it to use it that way.
Right.
And they've been pushing it since. They've luckily been up against a whole bunch of lawsuits and everything like that. But it's still, it's still one of those things that they never let an opportunity go to waste, right?
Right.
And there's I'm just putting it in the regular chat right now.
Okay.
There's Little Gray Cells channel. If you'd go support him, he has been nonstop, because the other scary thing about this whole situation up there with this Nova Scotia shooting is the government is all over trying to cover it up. The RCMP is trying to cover it up. It's the level that they are going to, the levels they're going to hush this up and cover it up.
Right.
And there's something bigger going on.
Well, do me a favor. The chat to Little Gray Cells, can you send it to me privately again?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, I didn't see it pop up in the.
I put it. Let's see. I think I just did it. I tried to put it in the regular chat.
Sometimes they give.
I got it in there.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll find it.
Yeah, you don't have me wrenched, so I don't show up, eh?
Right.
It's okay. It's okay. But the thing is that in our world right now with like, again, you follow Christian, Ice Age Farmer, and I do, and so many people, and we've got these other great channels that report on things, and Prepper Now, and other folks in the community that really work hard on getting the word out. And we have all these distractions going on, and we have the war in the Ukraine. China again did flyovers today on Taiwan. Your country, the United States, has been sending troops and equipment over to Asia pretty steadily in anticipation of something happening there. We know that there's a big buildup in the Mediterranean. We know that there's NATO troops from several countries in Romania and Poland.
Sure.
Now there's a big focus on Serbia. And I talked about this on my channel about a week before I made the move, was that World War I technically started in Serbia, in the Balkans,
right,
where the Archduke was killed.
Right.
World War II, technically, a lot of the things that were happening and the moves that the Nazis were making were premeditated there, and then a lot of the camps were over there and hidden away and quiet. So there was huge battles there in World War II. And since World War II, look at how many proxy wars we've had in the Balkans. There was the war in Bosnia. There were, Serbia. We've had the Kosovo War.
Right.
There's been attacks into Macedonia, Greece, which is technically not part of the Balkans, but it's right there. And, again, it's another country in the world that suffers a lot of terror attacks and little attacks from other countries and ethnic attacks. Right.
Right.
And so in amongst everything happening today on this day, again, what does the media do? They jump on this story. Now, right now, nobody has died yet. Am I correct?
No one's dead yet.
Okay, which is great.
Right.
Even if they did, this one, because they can't use it, is just going to be a nothing burger in a day or two, and the victims will be forgotten.
For the most, yeah. And it's funny because someone just brought up the whole lieutenant governor that was arrested today. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, they were trying to cover that up. No, New York 1 was trying to handle both at the same time, and it sort of sucked because they were trying to cover the thing in Brooklyn and they were covering the lieutenant governor simultaneously. I never seen a news agency do that, but they were like, okay, breaking news, we got an incident in Brooklyn, and at the time, I think it was like 63 people were shot or whatever it was. Then I go, oh my God, we got something else here. Lieutenant governor's arrested, and they were going back and forward, and they were talking about what was going on. So the lieutenant governor of New York State was arrested for some kind of financial scheme dealing with his campaign or donations or something to that. I didn't read it in depth because, as everyone else, I was reading about this. But I did stay alert to what was going on with the lieutenant governor as far as him getting arrested. Now, again, people like distraction. I would hardly think that this one incident would be that distraction to distract us from all of these things. You need something a little more grand, Again, not everybody knew what was going on here in New York City who lives in, let's say, I don't know, Arkansas or Texas,
Right.
But we needed something a little more grand for that distraction to be completely focused on it. But nonetheless, it was because I was, doing updates all day, getting text messages, phone calls, emails, and people were either asking me if I was okay, asking me what's going on, and people, giving me intel as to what was going on down there. So it's interesting, guys. That listen, the dude that did this, his pictures plastered all over the internet now. And they're probably going to catch him, I would say, probably by tomorrow, if not before the day's end. And I would like to know why he did it. Now, someone asked, did he have any hate rants? I'm going to tell you something. For everybody who gets caught doing these kind of things, they all have some kind of hate rant on some social media. So, of course, this guy is a bigot right now. I don't know why technically he's a bigot. And I think they also said he was homophobic. So if they can't find racism, they're going to find bigotry and homophobia to throw you under the bus. I mean, it's sort of like standard now.
Yeah.
Randy, thank you. I do appreciate it. People asking me if I was okay. And I was like, and the first person to ask me if I was okay, I was like, I'm in Manhattan and I'm in Harlem. But I forget that people don't know the layout of New York City. So this happened 8 miles away from me in Hipsterville. So, whatever. And listen, it was an unfortunate incident, but we're going to see more like these, and not meaning at the scale of a guy with a gas mask, but just these kind of shootings all over the city. I mean, every day someone's getting popped. It's a 16-year-old girl yesterday, the day before yesterday, was shot walking out of a bodega, minding her fucking business. And she's dead now, right? Mm-hmm. So we have all these kids dying here in the city. We have old people getting their asses handed to them in robberies, and Asian people are still getting crushed like fortune cookies. So what do we do with that? And now the mayor also, for those of you that didn't know, he has COVID, so he's hiding away, right? He's doing everything FaceTime.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, the lack of leadership in this city is astounding. I think he's doing a worse job than de Blasio. People are
Wow.
almost wishing for de Blasio to come back. That's how bad Eric Adams is.
That's just terrible. Calgary mayor is the same way. Calgary went from Nenshi to whoever the new one is that's actually worse than Nenshi. Again, globalism, right?
Right.
The other thing too and you've talked about this on your channel, and people are addressing it, but look at all the home invasions with all the food shortages and all these and the rumors of shortages and things. Look at the robberies. There's a lot of that going on, but not just in the big cities. I mean, it's kind of ramped up everywhere.
Right.
I think if you really took the time to go around and just did one major news station from each state, you'd find a story.
Right.
That
is true.
And as preppers and the prepper channels. I mean, I had the 2 channels before this and everything, and you've had your channel for a long time, and we have all these other great big channels like Such and others. And what's been one of the big topics over the years is security and safety and food safety and operational security. Head on a swivel.
Right.
How to hide your preps so that you're not bringing home boxes and boxes all the time, and people see you with new groceries every day, and that kind of thing. But people have paid attention to us, and we're starting to hear it now.
Yeah.
They were starting to hear these prepper groups, these prepper homes, these acreages, etc. They're getting home invaded.
And it's funny when you were talking about preps, right? We prepare so that we don't get caught with our pants down. And interestingly enough, I'm wondering if you've been following this, but what's going on in China, Shanghai to be exact.
Yeah.
Right. You heard about them, right? Lockdowns, no food, bartering for food. They're at the bartering stage, and they're only 2 weeks in on lockdown.
Yep.
Right?
Because again, they don't have the opportunity to do a lot of the things that we do as far as the prepping end of it and that kind of thing. And they are on the 3-day schedule.
Okay.
Not to cry my own river, but my storage was broke into in September, and I lost a huge chunk of my stuff because people found out where it was. Yeah. And the people where I had it stored were not kind of on top of things. And so a lot of my prepper gear is gone and everything. So I'm starting over with a lot of it. Now that I have a place to bring it to. That's why it was in storage until I could get a place to do that.
Do you know who did it?
Not 100%.
You have an idea? You have a hunch?
I have a hunch.
All right.
It's one of those situations.
Yeah.
But that's just reality. So, don't keep your eggs in one basket. I had a lot of stuff there, but I have a lot of stuff in other places too. I learned that with my house fire in 2010. I was 4 years into really heavy prepping and gathering and planning and all that. And when they say burn to the ground, they mean it.
They mean it. He said, they mean it. Holy shit. Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, well, it was a long rancher house built on a cement foundation, single story. So I'm talking to a fireman, so you get it. The fire started in the furnace room. Something electrical in the furnace room let go. Right. And it got up into the attic and went through the entire house and just turned it into a big heat source. And because it was a cement foundation and only one story, it was just a massive, pure, hot fire.
Like an oven.
It was just an oven, like a convection oven. And because I woke up in the middle of the night, house on fire, ran around to see if anybody was home or whatever, realized I was the only one there, and then tried getting a few things out. And I got backdrafted. I got blown through a door. Just trying to run in. I remembered where the family heirlooms were in a box, and I had it in my mind of going for it. and I made it about 3 steps in, and I had all kinds of help on the way out.
Holy shit!
You know,
Yeah, all kinds of help. Like I said, man, holy shit. Sorry to hear that, but you know what? It's funny. Out of space, not having space in the city, I
right?
have 2 storage units, right? 2 storage units, preps in both storage units, and my home. So I have 3 backups, but that was out of accident, if you will, because I don't have the space. After hearing your story, I'm definitely going to do the same thing. I'm going to have shit in my home, but I'm going to have shit in a storage unit, or maybe out in the shed as well. So I have 3 different spots. But listen, man, that sucks.
Yeah,
That really does
yeah.
suck.
You know, and the thing is too, and we talk about that, and it's funny because I have to reload those videos. I've got them in the can. When YouTube took me down the second time, I lost over 100 videos. So there's a lot of stuff I don't have. But that was, again, another, because I had learned the lesson by that time with the house fire and everything else, about not having your eggs in one basket and checking your preps. And the thing is too, is I've tried to help people that do live in cities. And I've lived in cities in my life too. You know, a lot of years in the military, most bases, you're near a big city or in a big city. A couple situations I wasn't, but for the most part you are. And you know, again, for you, and again, I know that you've addressed this, is that the big concern is wherever your storage is, you've got to be able to get to it.
Right.
And you got to be able to move it. And again, what we're seeing now with some of these robberies that have happened in the community that have been kept quiet. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. Sometimes it makes the news, but sometimes we only hear about it through our connections, you know, on some of the blogs or whatever, that kind of thing. But, you know, we talk about caches but the biggest thing is, you know, and again, I'm sure your storage is like mine. You got to move it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, ironically, mine was in a truck. Mine was in an old U-Haul.
Really?
Yeah. But they didn't steal the whole truck. They just opened it up and got the stuff out. I had made it sort of disabled, right? So it couldn't be stolen.
Right.
But that was my plan. It was, okay, if I had to, battery, a solenoid, pump, put the air back in the tires, and go.
Shit. And they still figured out a way how to take your shit.
Well, they cut the locks off the back and got in.
Lily B, I use a climate control storage unit, not by choice, but that's that was offered to us. Kage said he was using a U-Haul truck, so I guess that wasn't climate control.
No, I'm just answering in chat here. Kimmy Latrice asked why U-Haul. I bought an old out of service U-Haul that was still legal for the road, so I bought a truck.
Okay.
I wasn't renting a U-Haul. I wasn't renting a space. I bought an old truck and was using that for the storage. Again, with the plan that if I ever had to, all I had to do was pull up with my Jeep, hook my tow bar to the back of the truck, and off I went.
All right, that is a good plan.
Yeah.
I definitely listen. Right now, if we move to Texas, to move my preps from the 2 storage units, I'm all gonna want to fucking shoot myself in the face because that's a lot of fucking moving around. I'm not even looking forward to it, but I guess it's a necessity. And AJ Hopes, nice comeback, by the way. That was pretty funny.
Oh, I missed it.
Somebody said fake blood was being used at the event down in Brooklyn. And he replied, and they were using fake bullets too. I'm like, you know what? Listen, the prepper community, and I'm calling out the prepper community. Not everything can be a conspiracy theory, guys. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I saw this and I'm thinking, you know, where's the distraction? Where's the connection? But sometimes you got to take shit at face value, you know, sometimes. And
Yeah.
looking at the videos, looking at the way this went down, some people were saying they were actors that were screaming. I'm like, what? You know, and people were bothered by the fact that people were filming instead of helping. I'm like, listen, guys, human nature, people are, especially cowards, they want to stay back and film. They want to be, and then they want to be the first ones to get it uploaded to Citizen app or whatever the fuck it is. So they're the first ones, right, to get the recognition. But not everything is a fucking conspiracy theory. It really isn't. Some shit, suffice it to say, it is what it is. And yes, they are using this as they're definitely using this as a distraction, but a distraction, guys, are only for those who are easily distracted. All right. So if you're easily distracted, then this is a distraction for you. But if you're not and you're able to focus on other shit at the same time, this is not a distraction. So I know that I say it's a distraction, but it's a distraction for those with small brains and limited capacity to see past or look at other things, rather. Sorry. If you are easily distracted, that's on you. You know, you're the goldfish or fucking, you know, retarded. I don't know what to call it, but everything is not a fucking conspiracy theory. I'm sorry. You know, it suffices to say that shit. Someone already started with that earlier today. Oh, it's fake blood, and look at those people. They're actors. I'm like, how the fuck was that acting? Listen, if it was acting, everybody there deserves an Academy Award.
Yeah. When you see them coming out of the cars like that, those were true reactions. I mean, this was a big enough deal that your fire department had their the MRTU, the respiratory unit.
Yeah,
right?
and they also had the tactical team, they call them. They're not exactly a tactical team. What it is whatever firehouse is responding to that shooting, they get tactical gear to don on and then stand by if they have to help. We don't really have a tactical team. Our version of a tactical team would be the rescue units and what is that, squad and hazmat. That's like our tactical team. But when they were standing there with the Kevlar helmets and the vest, that was just the fire company that's first due, or maybe not first due, maybe second or third due to that area that dawns on that stuff and waits to be told what to do next. When the media was talking and calling it a tactical team, I'm like, what the fuck? So even in the media, all they have to do is call the fire department and ask, what are those guys wearing and why they're dressed like that? They came up with their own fucking their own explanation. I'm just like, fucking me. And that proves to you that the media doesn't do shit as far as actual research, right? Because if they did their research, they would know that's not an attack unit. Rescue task force.
Well, and the thing is too, I mean, when I was 16 years old, I was a volunteer fireman in my hometown. And over the years, I've in a couple places, you know, I've done some volunteering. In the Navy, everybody's a firefighter, and in the military, especially when you go places, you see blood in a lot of different ways. And when you're a first responder, you see blood in a lot of different ways, a lot of different situations. People act differently. Injuries are different every time. And again, you know, that again was a pretty serious situation because the smoke, you're in a subway, which people, when they're in the subways, you're tense, right? There's always that, I don't know, I guess tension is the way to put it. And then to have something like that go on, especially, you know, with all the things that are happening in our world and the bad things that have been happening in your city. I mean, again, New York kind of is the city that sort of gets hit the first and the hardest with a lot of these bullshit things that happen in our world. It's sort of like the number one target.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, more people, right?
Yeah.
More population.
Plus, you've got the United Nations there. On and on and on. It's like it's as far as big cities go, Baltimore and New York City and Philadelphia are the three cities in the United States where your population really took off from the start. So history is there, which means crime is there. So everybody's always had that that look over their shoulder kind of way of walking down the street, right?
Right. So somebody was asking, is he a BLM member? I don't know. Anonymous Prepper, I will call it a terror attack. I won't say it's related to any Muslim group or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that. Yeah, I'm just saying that it was a terror attack. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Someone said, no, he's Muslim African soldier. Really? He didn't look like it, but all right.
Well, just because he's Muslim doesn't mean it wasn't something he did on his own. Until the details come out, we won't know. And if something happens and questions are never answered, then we won't know, right? But right now, it was terrorizing. People got hurt, and it is a mass casualty event, and it's something we have to pay attention to. And I like what you said earlier too, because I made a point on my channel yesterday. I showed some deep fakes, and I told my viewers, look, we've got to pay closer attention than ever to what we're seeing. And when we see a news story or we see, something that we want to see, like, or whatever it is, right? You get a story, somebody will send you a link or whatever. I don't just jump on it right away. I research. I try to find 2 or 3 the same.
Right.
How many times have we been caught over the last few years with a story or something, and all of a sudden it's like it didn't happen, or it didn't happen that way, and the media does it all the time. They'll jump on something, crucify somebody, and then walk away from it, and they don't have to answer for anything, right?
Right. What was that guy's name? Richard. Shit. The Olympic guy, the guy that thought was a fucking bomber, right?
Right.
They threw his ass under the bus. Richard Jewell destroyed his life.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the Unabomber was somebody else, right? And a couple of the agencies retracted what they said about him, but it was such a small article, pages down. Other agencies never did the right thing and bringing him back on to clear his name. They just let him fucking Richard Simmons. Fucking guys. They did nothing to clear the guy's name, and he died fucking broke and essentially an American joke because they did to him,
Yeah.
And it's funny because there's 2 movies on him, but the one that Clint Eastwood did was pretty good. And it went into and the guy was a simple man. I hate to say it. He was a simple man, and he just thought he was doing the right thing and he was helping. And they played him. The FBI played him. They played him hard.
Yeah.
Made him look like a fucking asshole. But I mean, listen, the media is never to be trusted. But when we see something like this and you see actual videos and then you have actual intel as to people who are on the ground looking at this shit, telling you, yeah, this is what it is, then it is what it is. People calling it false flag, fake. Listen, if everything to you is fake, false flag, then I don't know, wake up out of the matrix. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. But everything cannot be conspiracy theory and everything can't be fake. A lot of things can be lies, that's for sure. But I don't think everything in all things are fake. I mean, hell, the whole Will Smith smacking thing. People are like, that's fake. I'm like, all right. So then the shooting happens next week. They're like, oh, that's fake. I'm like, what the fuck? So is everything fake now? No matter what the fuck it is, it's phony? It's like, enough already.
Yeah. And again, I mean, there is a lot out there, so we have to be careful, and we have to, when we call it out when we find it, right?
Right. Well, listen, that's why I wanted to wait a little longer, wait till more information came out before I started really talking about this, because there was a lot of shit that changed. It was 3 people shot, then it was 8, now it's 10, right? It was 12 people hurt, now it's 29. The guy was wearing an orange MTA vest, now he was just wearing a green vest. So a lot of shit changed over the course of hours. That's why I wanted to sit on this. Whatever. It is what it is. It's all coming. Oh, geez. You see the pictures from Hunter Biden laptop. Oh, sorry. No. But yeah, prepping for it. I don't care about Hunter Biden's laptop. You know why I don't care? Because nothing's going to be done about it.
Yeah.
The whole Hunter Biden laptop, that's like screaming at the fucking sky, to stop raining or to change its fucking weather pattern. It's not. We're talking about the Hunter Biden laptop, which I did a video on, and now I have to delete it because my channel got fucking caught a strike. We can talk about it, but to sit there and act like we're going to change something about that, it's not going to happen. It is what it is. Oh, he's saying that the slap was staged. Again, prepping for it. Prepping for it thinks everything's a conspiracy theory. I mean, everything. If I was eating a cheeseburger right now, he'd be like, "That's CGI. That's fake." He's one of those dudes. And listen, the Will Smith smack wasn't staged. This shit is gone way too far now. And there was a lot of other angles they showed of it, and I'm like, yeah, that wasn't staged. And Will Smith is not that great of an actor. He did a great job in King Richard. He did an awesome job in King Richard, but he's not that good of an actor. When he was yelling at Chris Rock and Chris Rock had confusion on his face, I was like, yeah, this is not it. This is real. I thought it was part of the whole show, but it wasn't. Clearly wasn't. And there's so much fallout behind this. Now Chris Rock is talking about suing Will Smith. Yeah, so much for fucking being staged, huh?
Yeah.
But again, this is the part of the prepper community I guess you have to deal with. You got to deal with every kook thinking everything's fucking fake.
Yeah.
Eat CGI burger, empty calories. Probably. Yeah, probably. So I'm going to ask you some basic questions because it's like 20 minutes out. Listen, what got you into prepping? I'm always curious to find out why people started prepping. Like, what was that moment you were like, oh shit, we got to do something?
Well, it's kind of funny that I grew up on a farm in northern Alberta. Mom and dad were raised in the Great Depression. And my dad fought in World War II. My grandpa was in World War I. Mom worked in a factory in World War II. And we had cattle, we had grain farm, but we hunted, we preserved, like we canned all the time. You name it, we canned it. We had big gardens. I just grew up with it. I grew up learning how to do carpentry, learning how to weld, helping neighbors, on and on and on. And so it was kind of just part of me. And, but as far as actually turning saying, okay, I'm a prepper, it started with being a survivalist just because of my training in the military and what was out in the lexicon at the time and the attitudes and everything else. But in 1988 in Canada, up in Quebec, there was a coronal mass ejection that hit an area and caused power outages and ice storm and really bad stuff. Now, I wasn't there for that when I saw it all on the news. But then later in 98, when I was in the military, we had a flood in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the Red River floods, which goes all the way down into the States on the Red River, down into the Mississippi Delta. And it happened 2 or 3 years in a row. And we responded to that as a military, again, with sandbagging, all these things you do, bringing in the big pumps, yada, 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 right? Your response to it. And the second year, we went back to the same area for the same kind. It was the same flood the second year in a row, the Red River floods. It was 98 and 97 and then 98. And there was a guy that got flooded out the first time, and he built a huge hill and put his house and his barn on a hill. And he was above the water the second time.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then in 2000, I was stationed in Borden, Ontario. It's Canadian Forces Base Borden, and we had been through a few things with the Kosovo War and stuff like this, and I'd been over there and dealt with the Kosovo refugees in Canada and helping people out. And then we had another ice storm in Quebec.
Okay.
And we went there again to respond. And it's like, okay, well, you know what? That guy's got a generator. He's got a chainsaw. He's got food. He's got extra fuel. And he's handling this. He's actually helping other people because he's prepared. And I noticed this, and I started seeing more people. And then I remembered the guy that built the hill to put his farm on so he wouldn't get flooded out. And I'm like, well, that's pretty smart. You know, this is forward thinking.
Right.
And then I realized, well, the military is just a great big prepper group. They've got everything, right? And they're prepared for it. And they train and they plan. And then I remembered growing up, well, shit, I mean, we would have never starved. We wouldn't. So what if the power goes out? We had wood stoves. We had, we could chop wood. We had cattle. We had chickens. We had garden food. We had canned food. We had all extra fuel around. I mean, so I realized, well, hang on a second. There's something here. But it wasn't really, as far as I knew at the time, it wasn't really out there, you know. But again, all the planning for Y2K. And I was in the intelligence section by then, and they changed every single computer in the Canadian military. I'm sure all around the world. I know actually NATO. I know every computer got changed so that they'd have the new system and the new clocks. So when the time changed over, that was the theory that everything was just the computer was going to go boop and shut off. Right? It didn't happen anyway. But I remember that. Leading up to that, and also being in intelligence, I was starting to see things in the world, and I was starting to see things overseas, and I was getting information I'd never had before and things I would have never thought of. And then September 11th, and I know what an implosion looks like. And again, I was in my regular duty, in my regular job in the morning. And ironically, my duty station that day was I was running the canteen. So we were at a big training base, and there's a schools. And so when the students come off their courses, they they get a pop and chips and maybe some smokes and sit down, relax. And so that was literally selling pop and chips and smokes that day. And the duty driver comes running in. He goes, because we didn't even have the radio on. You weren't allowed to have a TV, but we didn't even have the radio on that morning. And he comes running in. He goes, hey, turn the radio on. A plane just flew into the World Trade Center. And right away, it's like, boom. You know, your head starts going into training mode because we're trained for disasters. We're trained for all kinds of things, right? And literally, when we turned on the radio, the second plane hit. And then the sirens went off around the base. And then we got those of us with a little higher rank or a certain job got called into, the rooms. And later that night, when I was at my other duty station and the stuff was coming in, and it dawned on me that our world has changed and I don't want to get caught. And that's basically, then I was still in the military for a few years after that. But once I got out of the military, I was calling myself a survivalist. I don't think the word prepper was really out there. But yeah.
Well, so, listen, that's a long story. And that's a good, no, what I mean by that is it's a long, you had years to look at shit and go, oh, wait a second. This is fucking, this is what I need to do. Where some of us looked at some shit one time and was like, wait, what? No. And then, like you had years to like build up to it where a lot of us panicked. We were just like, we started panic buying and buying shit and amassing 10 grand worth of shit in 3 months, so yeah, at least you had the common sense to take it slow, notice what you needed to do, and compared it to the military. Yeah, Laura, I look tired because I am tired. I'm fucking. I went to the gym and I went too hard today. So, at 44 years old, you can't go as hard as you used to when you were 25. Right, that's for fucking sure. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're because it happened. I went to Prepper Nurses One, Prepper Community build kind of deal.
Mm.
What is your opinion? Oh, before I ask you that question, guys, do me a favor. We got 1,100 people watching. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you don't, or the thumbs down, whatever prepping for it because you're hating me today. You can hit the thumbs down. I don't care. And hit the thumbs up, lick it, touch it with your dick, whatever you got to do. Just make it happen. Also,
Nice.
head over to Cage's channel, Prepper's Paradise Canada, Prepper's Paradise Canada, and start giving him subscribers. He doesn't have any videos on here yet, but he will be. He is actually doing videos now, so he's gonna release a bunch of videos. And I was also thinking, you said you had some videos that you did before. You should definitely, I guess, redo them.
Yeah, well, I've got a lot of stuff. Like I have a lot of stuff on my drive, and I could make new videos again with some of the old stuff and compare it to the new stuff. But even if you just go to my Rage in the Cage channel, you got to go back a couple of years.
Okay.
But those videos are there. The other thing that I started doing about a year and a bit ago, and I haven't done them for a while because everything that's been going on with my life. But what I started doing was roundtables. And I would invite other preppers on, and I would play one of the old videos, and then we'd talk about the subject. So it was a way to renew my old videos and all the content that I'd worked so hard on, and get people to see it again. And it was funny because some of them had to have 75 or 70, 80 views, and now they've got a couple grand. So
Nice.
it helps. And it's really cool is it's beautiful to be at one location now and again focused on what I'm doing and building greenhouses, and I'm going to be getting chickens and doing the real prepper thing as my life. And so I get to film again, and it's exciting for me to start the process over again and build off my past and everything else, and do it new and do it with new people and a new situation, and then share it with the world on YouTube and on Rumble.
Very good. Yeah, listen, I'm looking. I mean, being that I know who you are, we've had a few conversations. I'm actually looking forward to your newer channel. I did look at some of the older videos, but I'm definitely especially being again when you told me that you were in a new place and things are better, if you will. I'm definitely looking forward to your videos.
Cool. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, guys, any question for Rage in the Cage or just Cage rather? Any questions? Please do me a favor. Ask them. Again, all caps so that I can actually fucking read them. Yeah, that's the other thing that's starting to go. My fucking eyesight. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Who turned that switch? Yeah, I see. I was like, who turned that switch off? I'm like, like one day I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, oh, I can tell time. Now I'm doing this shit. I'm like, what the fuck? What time is it? I'm like, ugh, fucking someone roll me up in a box and bury me already. This is bullshit.
Welcome to the tribe. I was, let's see, I was about 45, 46 when I started having to wear reading glasses.
Okay.
And then now it's full time, right? Just
yeah. My daughter's already wearing glasses, and she's 12. My son just started wearing reading glasses, and he's 14. I'm the last one in the family who doesn't need glasses, and I'm gonna ride it out. I'm squinting and all kinds of shit just so I don't have to wear them. Even my older guy, he has glasses on now too. He has them on full time. So I'm like, I'm trying to be the last one standing because as soon as my middle guy, if he has to wear glasses and he puts them on, then I'll get him in a couple of years. I'll be the last one standing. It's a bit of an ego thing. It's all it is at this point.
It's second nature too, because everybody in my family had glasses, and I started wearing glasses when I was about 10 years old. And then by the time I was 18, my eyes had been repaired. And I didn't have to wear glasses from 18 years old until, like I said, about 40. Well, at let's see, I was 53 when they said, okay, now you have to wear glasses, like full time. You have to have them
Okay.
on. So,
You couldn't cheat anymore or fucking
no, what happened was I failed the eye test for my driver's license,
Oh, okay.
and
All right.
so
That'll
then,
do it.
but I had my reading glasses with me. These are reading glasses, and they're a trifocal, and
Okay.
that's what I started to wear when I found them available to me. And I'd have to get a stronger prescription every couple of years, kind of thing. But I
Right.
had it in my pocket, so I failed the test. And she goes, "Well, you need glasses." So I pulled them out, put them on, and then I passed. And so I passed, but she put it on my driver's license that I have to wear glasses. So
Oh, it's
that's
funny. Last year, I discovered I needed glasses because I was reading a vitamin, and my wife gives me her glasses, and I go, so I put them on, and I'm like, holy shit! It was like a new world. I was like, oh my god, I could read. I was all excited and shit. Oh, look at that.
I keep these around.
Yeah, those fucking vitamin, what you call it, instructions on the back are so tiny. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know? And I was all amazed when I had the glasses on. I was like, I was disappointed, but I was like, oh my god, I can read again. But it's the shit on the vitamins. Like driving, reading books and shit, I can see regularly. My watch, I can see, but when I get up initially in the morning, I can't see a fucking thing. It takes me like an hour or two for my eyes to adjust, which I don't know if that's a bad or good thing.
Cool. I see a question.
Go ahead.
Virginia Roots. Kage, what do you think people should do, stack, prioritize, who are just getting started? If you're just getting into prepping and you want your beans, your Band-Aids, and you want some security if you can get it and that kind of thing. Something that is really important is books. And we do our research on the internet, which is great. But having books is really helpful. There's a lot of great ones out there on general prepping or individual things, gardening, that kind of stuff. The other thing, excuse me, the other thing is that again, we have this wonderful advantage of the digital world and YouTube, and there's other really good blogs out there. There's International Preppers Network and places like that where you can actually have conversations with people in a chat room and ask questions, answer questions, share ideas. The other nice thing is it goes by state and province. So every state in the United States and every province and a lot of other countries are on the International Preppers Network. So you can find people first in your state or province and then in your area, and you start hooking up. And the next thing you know, you're meeting up for coffee and you're going to a farmer's market together or whatever it may be. And the beautiful thing now that a lot of the BS is ending unless they hit us with another one. The last 2 years, it's been tough to do this kind of thing. And people have started to do it again is meet up with new folks and share ideas and that kind of thing. So as far as, making sure you've got food that you can eat and you can cook and a way to take care of yourself if you get injured or sick, being able to hunt and be able to protect yourself is important. But information and friends are your biggest preps.
Very good. Okay, Boomer NYC. He says that he's publishing his book soon.
Cool.
What kind of book is it? That's one. And second, there's another question for you. I'm going to put it on the screen. What books do you recommend? By Moose's Garage.
Hey, Moose. Okay, well, I mean, there is the Lone Pine series. And that's just a small little producer. They make little. I don't have. It's in boxes still. I can't even go get one to show you. But there's everything from medicinal plants to gardening to growing zone for gardening. There is carpentry books. There is wildlife identification, edible berries, medicinal. I think I said medicinal plants. And you can get them for your specific areas. The other thing about Lone Pine is they'll do each state and province again with what's specific to you. It really doesn't hurt to find some older encyclopedias and get some information before it was all bullshitized in the last 10 years.
Right.
And again, on this International Preppers Network and other good prepper sites, I know that another one is Ice Age Farmer, his website. He's got a list of books. There is, there's people that do survival training. There's so many things out there. If you just do your Google searches on specific topics, the other thing is, don't just go to the libraries and the bookstores. Go to the secondhand stores, because not only are you going to start finding some really cool cooking utensils, or a butter churn, or a crock pot, or a percolating coffee pot, but you're going to find a lot of really old cool books, old maps and atlases and encyclopedias, and get them cheap. You start meeting these people at these antique stores. A lot of times the people that run the antique stores know everything there is about the antiques, which means they know history. So they themselves become a wealth of information.
Never looked at it that way. Yeah.
And the other thing too is cool is like for you, Jason, when you went out to Texas and you got to drive through parts of the country you hadn't seen before. And whenever I've done this in the past, is I'll look for those kind of places, because again, you're discovering as you go. And so now you've got a reason for a road trip. You folks that live in the cities or wherever it may be, even if you're in Oklahoma and you start doing this research, and the next thing you know, it's like, well, there's a little store in a town 40 miles away. Road trip. Yeah. Come home with some preps and some information and a great day.
That is true. Yeah, that is a good idea. And I didn't look at a lot of the stuff the way you looked at it. So thank you for that. So, guys, we are at 2:02. We're going to head off the air now. I'm going to head over to the Angry Truth channel. If you guys want to follow, be my guest, or I can talk to myself all night. It's up to you. We are going to talk about the lieutenant governor getting arrested real quick, and then we're going to talk about free speech and how that's actually how the Will Smith smack relates to free speech. Other than that, Kage, thank you for being on with me tonight. Thank you for accepting the invitation. Again, guys, please sign up, subscribe to this channel. This guy has a wealth of knowledge, and he looks at things slightly different than other preppers would. So this is actually a channel where you can get a different view on how he looks at things, or how he preps, and how he gets to his, his final thought process in that. But other than that, you have any last words?
I just want to say thanks for having me on, and I'm glad we've met and we've had the great conversations we have, and I want to have more in the future. I'm as excited for your new venture and your move where you end up as I am for mine, and okay. It'll be great to go on that journey with you. And let's just stay on YouTube as long as we can. Is because, as far as final words, here's what I want to say, is that YouTube doesn't suck, because we are YouTube. The people that run YouTube, the people that make the rules, the fact checkers, and the people at the top with the big salaries that are screwing us over, they're not YouTube. They're jackasses with the job. We are YouTube. YouTube is awesome. YouTube is a great place. It's the biggest encyclopedia ever designed. It's the most entertaining place you can find, and we need to just keep using it and keep beating them at the game that they don't even know that they're playing wrong. Because, like I said, we are YouTube.
Right. We definitely are. All right, guys. So with that, I will see you guys over in the Angry Truth channel in about 5 minutes. Rage, thank you for joining me tonight. Mods, thank you for doing what you're doing. And Irish Rebel, thank you for the donation. Cool. All right, guys. See you later.